Welcome back, realvacantland.com. This is Luke Smith. I've got another property for you. I'm calling this one Dunkin Land in North Carolina. Like Dunkin Donuts. We got the donuts and the breakfast sandwiches right behind me. And Dunkin Donuts is growing fast. They're putting locations all over the place because they're easy to set up and they're good money makers. They usually do annual sales of $600 to like $1.2 million. And it's a good little business that there's a lot of locations you could set one of these things up in and get it up and running and sell it after you got the cash flows, kind of see what the cash flows are, sell it for crazy prices on the marketplace, take the difference and go build a couple, three more of them or five more of them or something. So here's a location where you could add another one to your portfolio or be your first one, whatever it might be. Let's take a look at this one. So we're on realvacantland.com. We're in Lenoir County, North Carolina. I'm asking $119,000 for this property. It's got Luke Smith phone number here. You can call me and ask questions. I'll run you through it as best I can. We got some pictures, some diagrams. We got a little over 200 foot of frontage on this highway that does about 25,000 cars a day. There's a gas station on one side. There's a Waffle House on the other side. There's a McDonald's and a Taco Bell across the street. So with those kinds of names, you know, those guys know real estate. They know where there's traffic. They know where there's business. They know where they can sell their food. And so we could get in the middle of those guys and make it happen. This is I'll get the numbers here, 1.76 acres, 1.76 acres. So I've seen, these kinds of Dunkin' Donuts go on a third of an acre kind of property. So this is a lot. You got a bunch of room up front. It gets too skinny in the back, but you got a bunch of room up front and a parking lot. There's already a parking lot in part of this property. There's a driveway that goes right out into the highway as well. Here's a satellite photo. Here's a driveway. So you've already got a driveway skirt to the highway. You don't have to go ask for permission to get in and out. It's already there. And this thing branches off through the gas station. You could go probably through the gas station to get in here. Your traffic would probably help the gas station. The gas station traffic would probably help you. So I think it would be a symbiotic relationship. There's just some trees on the property. There's a telephone pole. There's utilities. These other businesses have the utilities there. This is in Kinston is the name of the town. Kinston, Kinston. I'll pull up some maps and show you what part of North Carolina we're talking about. It's just south of town, right off the highway. It's like 6 lanes traffic, 3 lanes going either way. Here's a good picture now that I'm talking about it. 1, 2, 3. And then I think there's a turning lane. 1, 2, well, this part it shows 3 lanes going each way, but you go up the road just a hair and there's a turning lane in the middle as well. There is a turning lane here. It's just maybe it's getting restriped or resurfaced. It says, it's under construction. They're working on it. When this street view was taken. Okay, so here, you can see the turning lane. So here's the gas station next door. The property would be over here, and there's a turning lane in the middle, so you could get there from either side. Utilities and so we got a bunch of diagrams on the website. You can go look at these by clicking on the link in the description below. It'll get you back to realvacantland.com. And so what did I do here? I already messed with this map. Okay, so here's Kinston. This is where the property is. And then over further, if I pull this over, I can reach it. So Kinston is behind me here, and this is Raleigh. So here's Raleigh, North Carolina, Raleigh and Raleigh, Durham. So that's more, Raleigh, Durham. So this is for reference, and the town that this is in is over here. Okay. Let me just refresh this so the map is zoomed in. Okay, so here's the property. This is, you can see the parking lot, and there's about a quarter of an acre or so of parking lot already on the property. I mean, you could build on that. You could build in here. These other neighbors are building in here. You could build, on this same kind of level-ish ground. You could build in here. I think it just gets too skinny as you go back to use that for anything. So the vast majority of it's going to be this fat part up front, closest to the road. Show your shop. Use it for signage and, make the shape of the thing look like a donut or something so everybody knows what they're going to get when they go there. Right. So here's excuse me, here's McDonald's, and here is Taco Bell. Let's jump out of there. We've got there's a buy it now if you want to say, if you want to reserve this thing, click that button and it'd be like saying, Luke, here's $500. Just don't sell this one to somebody else. Give me a chance to do the paperwork, make this thing happen right now. I want to close right away. And we'll do the paperwork. We'll take it to local attorneys. Local attorneys do the real paperwork to get it recorded into your name. This is North Carolina. It's attorney closed state. So do some attorneys and make it happen. Taxes are a little over $1,000 a year because this is commercial. They tax more on commercial properties because they want you to do business there. GPS coordinates up ahead here to get to the property. If you click on that in your phone, you get driving directions to the property. Here's some of the stuff around the area. Okay, so I wanted to jump into, here's a listing. This is with the realtor I've got working this property, and some of his pictures. I think we've got, I'll just show you some of his pictures. So recent pictures of the property. Here's the property, and it's part of this parking lot here, and these bushes here. So this whole section here. Here it is from a couple different angles. The Citgo next door. Here's the bushes. Okay. So Dunkin Donuts. The closest Dunkin Donuts I could find to this location, because you don't want one right across the street, right? If you're going to open a new Dunkin Donuts, and it doesn't have to be a Dunkin Donuts. It could be anything. This is just to set the stage of what could go here. You could put all kinds of different restaurants here, different kinds of businesses. So here's the property. Here's the closest Dunkin Donuts. It's 25 miles away on the same highway. The next Dunkin Donuts is up the road and 25 miles away. There's lots of Dunkin Donuts spread across the country that are like 2 and 5 miles away from each other, 10 miles or something, like much closer than this. You're not going to drive half an hour to go to the next Dunkin Donuts. You want one over here by us. And where we're at, there's a university right across the street. So you could, our location's over here. There's a university right here, and there's a big hospital just north of us. I mean, this is the town. I mean, there's all kinds of business going on here in town, and these people don't have a Dunkin Donuts. Like it's the hospital. There's all kinds of stuff. Restaurants, businesses. There's another McDonald's. McDonald's is doing multiple, Burger King, Pizza Nova, Domino's. There's taco shops and Hardee's and lots of businesses around the area. So it seems like this would be a good place to do it. I mean, for breakfast, convenience breakfast, you'd be Dunkin' Donuts. Waffle House is 2 doors over. I mean, they're sit-down breakfast. McDonald's, maybe convenience coffee and stuff. But Taco Bell, I don't know if Taco Bell does breakfast. Maybe they do breakfast. So half an hour to the next Dunkin' Donuts. So I pulled up Dunkin' Donuts. How much will you need to open a Dunkin' Donuts franchise? You'll need a total investment of around $100,000 to $1.7 million. Will open one store. And so they've got numbers spread across the map here. But you can Google it, and they talk about all the different kinds of building costs and fees that you would pay and the typical kinds of numbers that it would take to put one of these franchises together. And they say, Dunkin' Donuts has over 13,000 locations. If it wasn't working for those people, you think they would keep opening more, and they just keep opening them all over the place. And I see properties that I've sold or ones next to ones that I've bought, and I look at the timeline that these people create these Dunkin' Donuts, and the ones that are good at it. I mean, it's 6 months. There's a street view picture, and it's dirt. I mean, it's like trees, and nobody's touched it. Brand new spanking land. 6 months later, there's customers driving through and buying stuff at the drive-through window. Like 6 months. Like that's fast. They build these things fast. They get them into business fast. When they know what they're doing, they just bang them out. Bang, 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 bang. They just put them on locations all across the country because they're creating SDE, seller discretionary income, right? Seller discretionary earnings. And the average SDE for one of these businesses, this is kind of like how you compare these kinds of businesses, right? I pulled it up here, and this is average sales and revenue a year. So they're usually selling a little over $600,000 to maybe $1.3 million a year in coffee and donuts and stuff in one of these locations. And you got to pay for employees, you got to pay for supplies, you got to pay for Dunkin' Donuts brand name and all that kind of stuff. and you pay for the lights and the power and the sewer. After you pay all those bills back to the person who set it up or put it together, you're getting $124,000. Excuse me. And so $124,000 is your average kind of number. And if that was like a 6 cap that you could sell that for, and if you do a standalone location, you might be able to sell it for a 4 cap because this is a big brand name and stuff. But if you did it, let's do a 6 cap. 124,000 times 16 is kind of a rough rule of thumb to get to a 6 cap. We're talking $2 million, just a hair shy of $2 million. You could sell one of these locations in the market in the higher end of what I think the market is for a standalone Dunkin Donuts location, $2 million after you get it set up and operating. So how much does it cost you to set one of these suckers up and get it operating? How much time does it take? I've seen them happen in less than 6 months. How much cost does it take? If we go back to this thing, high-end costs. They're putting these costs together. So if we go down the high end, because I don't think we're going to be on the high end, we're talking like $1 million. $1.2 million is the high end. The high end's $1.2 million putting their numbers together. The low end is probably renting a space in a strip mall or something. But it's hard to sell that. Selling a standalone location is where you get the sweet cap rates that you can sell these things at. So I think you could build one of these things for the $1.2 million on the high end and sell it for $2 million on the average number, and we might have more traffic than the average numbers, and you can make a bunch of spread here. I think the numbers are better than most of the houses and most of the residential locations I'm looking at. You could build a house and sell it for XYZ. Like, how much does it cost to build a house? How much can you sell the house for? And what do you take out of the middle? You can leverage the heck out of this. You don't have to put up all the money. There's all kinds of ways to finance this. You don't have to put up it all. But just like these guys are saying, how much do you need? They want Dunkin Donuts to qualify you. They want $250,000 liquid and a net worth of $500,000. Total investment is 120 to 1.7. They're like, these numbers are all over the place. And so it's depending on how much leverage you're using to pull this off. But the basis of it is there's a big spread between how much you have to put up, how much you can sell one of these things for. And that's why this is one of the fastest growing franchises right now in the U.S. And it has been year after year after year for a good long time now. And that's why I'm pointing out Dunkin Donuts and not one of the other 30 or 40 other ones that I could tell the same story on, but they're just not as prominent and fast as Dunkin Donuts. And I was going to get into the liquid numbers, but I already covered that. So on average, it's $60 per hour. You set one of these suckers up, $60 per hour. That's the kind of machine you're creating. So you can create a money printing machine that prints you $60 an hour by using this property. Okay, so Lenoir County, North Carolina. I am now in Crexie. Crexie is CREXI, Crexie.com. And let's do for sale. And let me just get back to the basics here. For sale, all types, any price. Okay, so we've got the area for sale, and I think this one just came up for sale. I think there's a new one here that I haven't seen. Okay, first there's a cheap one for sale. Just down the street, there's one that's $85,000, and they're pointing out the McDonald's and the Taco Bell across the street. And here's the Citgo. They didn't point out Citgo. I don't know why. But just on the other side of Citgo is our property. So we're just around the corner. These guys are on the sub street. So this street doesn't have as much traffic as the main highway. This is kind of off the main road. To me, this is where you would build like an auto fixing shop or something. Like the cheaper land, not on the main road, where you don't get as much traffic. But I went to look into this. I'm like, why are they selling it for $85,000 and it's been on the market for like forever, for years and years and years and years? And I figured it out. It's an old gas station. So of course nobody's bought this thing. Nobody wants to buy the old gas station. You lower the price down as much as you want. Nobody wants to buy the old gas station location. There's a different cost. It's environmental cost involved that just makes that not a real comp. Okay, so across the street there's some land for sale. Oh, I know what this one is. I just didn't know it was in this location. There's a Tractor Supply store across the street a little bit. They're asking $7.8 million. I mean, that'd be fun business. Maybe after you build a half dozen um, Dunkin Donuts and you want to go for, it's like after you're building houses, you want to go to a hotel, then you go do a Tractor Supply store. But maybe you start with some Dunkin Donuts and then you skip up to build the Tractor Supply store later. So these guys are, what they put NOI in there? They didn't put an NOI in there. Just easy to read. Okay, so that's not really a comp. That's a different story. I was going to try to find some land. There's one that's near a Bojangles. Bojangles is like a breakfast restaurant. This is 5 acres. This is 29,000 cars per day. This is a bigger lot. They're asking 350 grand for this one in the region. Okay, so let's go to sales. There's not much of anything for sale to compare to. So if we go to solds, and this software is nice to come up with sold comps for commercial properties. I've looked at lots of them, and this is the one that's easy for me to use. And they don't have the dates and stuff on there, but the Citgo next door, check this out. So next door, if you want to know what kind of business is happening, you click on other ones. 2006, okay, so it's top of the market before the previous crash, but they paid $5.5 million for this gas station. 2.9 acres, a little bit bigger than ours, 1,800 square foot. It's just a little building. They're selling gas. So it probably went from Bubba's gas station to, it was Kinston Food Mart. So it went from Kinston Food Mart, and then they turned it into Citgo. They put the brand on there, and they probably, with the brand, they could probably charge more for gas and get a better cash flow out of the thing and made good business. But $5.5 million, people don't pay $5.5 million unless there is traffic going through that gas station. It's probably selling, 300,000 gallons a month or something. It's going to be over 250,000 gallons a month. It's going to be a serious gas station putting volume through there for somebody to pay that much. If it was $1 million gas station, it'd be, it didn't really make sense. So Waffle House, 2 doors over, paid 250 grand for their property. Let's see when they bought that. 2009. So the thing about commercial property is you go look at comps over a lot more time. But 2009, Waffle House paid $250,000 for their property 2 doors over. And that's a 0.88 acre. Waffle House usually buys smaller properties. So 0.88 acres for Waffle House, they paid 250 grand. I'm asking $119,000 for my location. And then there was a new trade that just went off across the street, like the most recent one in the area. This is $450,000. This is October 14th, 2021. So 450 grand, it's 9 acres. So this is a much bigger property, and I believe it's this chunk here. It might go back in there. So they're behind Taco Bell and McDonald's. So I don't think maybe you put some location in behind there. It's not as much street traffic in behind. Maybe you put a Starbucks, or you could put a Starbucks on ours too. But I think the main piece of them, if I understand this property shape right, is the, maybe I can, yeah, so this piece here, I believe, and it might be this stretch over here actually too, but I think it's at least this one. I think it's kind of like 2 more locations on the main highway go here. And so if we calculate it as 2 of these locations, it's kind of like they have 2 times the street frontage as us. That's kind of like $225,000 per location. Excuse me. Okay, so there's action in the area. We can go look at these until we're blue in the face, but it doesn't. I found a Dunkin Donuts that was in this town in the past. There was this Dunkin Express. It was a Dunkin Express, and it was in a speedway. And I found this location of this one, and it has since shut down. And it was 3.3 miles away. And it's on a lesser street, and so it's on a side street. It's not across the street from the college and the McDonald's and the Taco Bell and the Waffle House and the gas stations and stuff. It's down here. I mean, there's some business at the corner, but not, there's, this is like, yeah, like a tire supply and this isn't where business is happening. So they had it set up as a takeaway in the back of this gas station. Speedway Dunkin Donuts. It's kind of hiding back in there. So that one's supposedly shut down. So that one's out of business. And but it's not as much traffic, not as much of a place to do it as the one that I was showing. And I think that opens the door to put a new one over here, across from Taco Bell, McDonald's, and where there's a lot more traffic. So if you like doing Dunkin' Donuts, please check out this property. I think this would be a good location for you at a good price. If you like to put in Starbucks or lots of other different kinds of businesses, got to look at it, look at the competitive analysis of the area, and maybe there's another business that fits here that just more up your alley that you like to build. But I've got this property for sale, lots of traffic that you can put a business on, and I'm sure someone out there is going to know exactly the right business, or just put a Dunkin' Donuts on it for this property. Take a look at it. Feel free to ask me questions. Luke Smith. See you in the next one. Bye.